Hello everybody! So I'm working on the coop and I decided to let them out so they can get grass outside of the pen since I'm here anyways and I can watch them. And if you look carefully, you'll notice something. Look at the tail feathers. Yep, sadly, for the longest time I thought maybe I was being super lucky and I only had one rooster, aka Cookie. But Caillou and Calico, which I've been suspecting were roosters for the longest time until I was kind of convinced that they were going to be hens because they didn't develop any rooster feathers for the longest time. Well, they're roosters after all. They started developing those feathers last week. I was not in the mood to film, so because of, so because I wasn't in the mood to film, I just didn't. But yeah, Calico and Caillou are clearly roosters. So I have 3 roosters to choose from because I'll have to choose. I can't keep them all. There's going to be fighting eventually. Long term, I do not want to keep a red crest in my flock. So Calico is disqualified for long term. But Calico, I really like the feathers of. Like the colors of his feathers. I think he's gorgeous. Like he's kind of a splash. And I really, really like the look of it. So while Calico will not be a permanent long-term rooster for me, he is gonna fodder the first and maybe second generations of chicks for me, so that I may get those feathers in a hen, in a future hen. So yeah, there's that. Now, Caillou, I've not decided. Caillou is technically the best, sort of. His comb is extremely dark. He's very strong melanism. He's got a lot of lighter colors, so he's good. He's a really good rooster. Technically he's much better than Calico, but I have a really strong attachment to the colors, the color pattern of Cookie, because of Katana a few years ago. So Cookie is gonna be my permanent rooster for sure, because of his pattern. So long term, Cookie's the winner for sure. Calico's gonna be the first and second generations of chicks, and then he's gonna go. And then Caillou, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. No idea at all. Now, if I look at the rump of Cosmos, the black one, she has to be a hen. Her rump is like very rounded tail feathers. She clearly looks like a hen. She's a Spartana, so there's a lot of reference image of Spartana hens, and there is no way she would be a rooster at this point. She is 100% a hen. And when Calico fodders chicks, I'm gonna be using Cosmos's eggs, because that way I have my first generation crossbreed between Spartana and Hmong, and I'm gonna fight the lack of melanism um, in calico with the 100% melanism of Cosmos. So basically, my first and second generations of chicks are gonna be calico and Cosmos, 100%. So that's that. And then as for Copper, since she's the youngest, and well, we got 2 sex changers. Copper, I think, is gonna be a hen. She has not developed any crest whatsoever. And her tail, the rump feathers are still very, very round. But the thing about the Hmongs is that they're not like from one bird to the other. They're very different. And Copper, being the youngest, can mean that she still has time to change. I'm wanting to say she's a hen because of the neck feathers and the rump feathers. So for now, I'm still hopeful that she's a hen. So yeah. So what am I gonna do? Well, I'm gonna finish the coop, and once I finish the coop, I'm gonna separate the flock, so that I can isolate Calico and Cosmos together. Make sure that 100% of Cosmos's eggs are fathered by Calico, and that the eggs I decide to hatch are 100% Cosmos's eggs. Now, her eggs would be very easy to differentiate from the other hens. So technically, I could just say I separate the rooster. I separate Cookie and Caillou from the hen instead. I'm sorry, I'm just messing up. So technically, I'll probably remove Caillou and Cookie, isolate those 2 instead, so that the hens can stay together and they don't fight when I would reintroduce them, because introducing hens is harder than introducing a rooster if the older rooster is gone. If the previous rooster is gone. So probably that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, that's probably what would be better to do. So yeah, once the coop is finished, the group is gonna move to the coop, and Caillou and Cookie are gonna stay in the previous cages. And yeah, now I'm in contact with, I just got in contact today with a breeder from Ontario for silkies, because the silkies have the crest and floofiness that I want. I mean, Cosmos has some of the floofiness I want. She's got feathers on her legs, she's much floofier than the others, but she's lacking the crest that I want. So sure, I could go to a Polish to get the crest, but Polish are not a melanistic breed. So it would dilute the melanism. Well, if I get silkies, they're not gonna dilute the melanism, as long as the silkies I get are blues or blacks, which is what I would be getting. But the thing is, the silkies have the other issue that they can have frazzle feathers, which are curly feathers, or the normal poof feathers that kind of make the feathers look like dandelion fluff instead of feathers, which is what is most commonly seen about the silkies. The silky feather type is that floof dandelion-like appearance. But there is what is called a satin silkie, and a satin silkie has feathers that are like other breeds. So their feathers are like this. And so most breeders I've looked at, they only show that they have frazzled or dandelions. I'm going to call them dandelions. And that's not ideal because I'll have to breed out the frazzle or the dandelion fuzz. So if I get a satin from the get-go, that's dealt with. And then it's just a matter of the crossbreeding to get the colors and the body shape, and balance out the appearance of my flock in the crossbreeds future generations. So going like that, that's what I'm gonna do. And the breeder I got in contact with is from Ontario, and not as far as the Ontario breeder from that these guys are from. So it's not gonna be a 19-hour drive like it was for these guys, but it's still Ontario. So the advantage of that is that my flock is gonna have the unique genetics that are not around my region in general, because like the mongs, they're not around me. Like I would have to go extremely far east in Quebec to find mongs, or go to Ontario, or go almost to the US down south. So and the down south breeder I don't like his stock, so that's not gonna happen. So yeah, so I don't mind going to Ontario if that's what has the stock that I want. And that breeder has satin. He mentioned he has satin. There's pictures, and I do like his flock of silkies. Sadly, he does have a satin splash, which would have been nice, but he told me that he's paired with a rooster that is not satin, so they won't have satin aspects to them. Like the way he explained it is basically saying that I wouldn't get any splash. I would either get black or blue, which is fine. I don't mind. So yeah. So that's that. So what's gonna happen is that I'm gonna have to make a down payment. There's always the risk of getting ripped up when you make a down payment, but hey, that's the game. It's that, or I get chicks and then I risk them all turning into roosters. So, and there is absolutely no way that I would want a silky rooster. So that would just be a huge waste for me. So I'd rather have a down payment and be 100% sure and get a 6-month-old hen, that I'm 100% sure, you know. So that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what we're coming to a conclusion on with him and I. And yeah, so that's that. Now you're gonna notice that my Americanas, they're not melanistic technically, but that's why I got lilacs, lavenders. Sorry, I'm used to calling that color lilac because that's what we call it in rabbits. But I got lavenders. I could have gotten blues, but I got lavenders because I liked the color on them. So their crossbreed is not gonna be as strong in melanism, which is why I'm not gonna keep chicks from them from Calico foddering them, because then I would just be super dilute on that, and that's just pointless. So really, these two are gonna have blue eggs anyways, so very easy to tell apart. And oh look, there's a wee snail. Oops. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Um. So yeah. So for sure, these girls, I'm not gonna hatch anything with him fathering them. Um. So yeah, my first generations are gonna be just Calico and Cosmos. Um. Now, what I don't know is if Copper is a hen, if her eggs will be hard to tell apart from Cosmos's, because I think they both are kind of whitish cream. Um, so that's gonna be to see when I get eggs, um, which should be somewhat soon in the case of Cosmos, hopefully. These two are gonna be probably towards the end of the midsummer, early end of summer. But I think Cosmos is gonna be midsummer, cause I got the chicks a while ago now. So, but these two are younger, so they're gonna take a bit more time. But yeah, so that's that. That's the plan for the roosters and the flock in general, and I'm still gonna keep an eye on KGG. Maybe if I see a hen that's suitable to go in my flock, I might grab her. I do have a friend in Montreal that has a big flock, and he's got some Polish crossbreeds that are also kind of silky crossbreeds. His flock is basically a bunch of mutts between Brahma, Silkie, um, Bantam, and whatnot. So chances are I wouldn't find anything that I would find to my liking in the flock. Or if I do, there's just going to be one, and it's going to be a matter of if he's willing to sell her to me or not. Um, but hey, there's no hurry. I still need to finish the coop anyway, which is why I'm not in any hurry to get a silkie, and I'm willing to wait for one that is most suitable for my flock. And yeah. That's a nice piece, isn't it? Hello again. Lucas, my little whisper. They're not as afraid of the rabbits anymore. But yeah. So that's the news. Other than he's so gorgeous, Cookie. And Copper's so pretty too. So I really hope she's a hen. Because if she turns into a rooster too, I'm gonna be so bummed. But hey, no one said it was gonna be easy. um, and ideally, I just want one flock. I don't want to be keeping two separate flocks, or initially I'm gonna have to. There's no way around that. Because yeah, like even if the roosters don't fight, I need to be sure 100% of who is the father of the chicks. So there's, I'm gonna have to separate the other roosters for sure. And once they're separate, if I try to, they're probably not gonna fight each other. But if I try to reintroduce them, then there's gonna be a lot of fighting. So that's just not a good idea. And yeah. Hey, they're being brave. Normally they would never leave the gazebo, and this is their first time that I'm letting them loose, and they're being super brave. But hey, there's a lot of green stuff for them. I keep bringing green stuff in there, but look what they're doing to it. So yeah. So there's a lot more out here. But I just can't let them do that if I'm not here. So yeah. Uh, but hey, a little bit of fun. I whisper. My white floof ball. So yeah. Bye bye everybody.